Alright, we have a problem here. X, Y, 32. We need to find x, y, theta. We're given an angle 40 degrees, and we know this is a right triangle. So we can use, first of all, to find theta. Since this is a 90-degree angle, theta equals, you could do it two ways. You could say it's 180 minus 90 minus 40, which is 50. You could also say that since this is 90, that means these two angles have to be complementary, or in other words, they have to add up to 90 degrees, so we could say 90 minus 40. Now let's find x. What I'd recommend is to use the information we're given just in case we made a mistake finding the theta. So we could say the sine of 40 degrees equals opposite over hypotenuse. And what I should have been saying is, given this angle, the side we know, and x, which trig function deals with that? Well, that's sine. Multiply both sides by x, so we get x sine 40 equals 32, so x is 32 divided by the sine of 40 degrees. Now let's set up, I'll save the calculator calculations for last. Which trig function deals with 40 degrees, 32, and y? Well, compared to the 40, this is opposite, and the y is adjacent, so we're dealing with tangent. Tangent of 40 degrees equals 32 over y, and similar to the previous one, we'd multiply by y, and we get y equals 32 divided by the tangent of 40 degrees. So now let's take out our calculator. See if we can see this okay. 32 divided by sine 40. Let me have a quick check to make sure I'm in the right mode. Yes, I'm in degrees. Hit enter, and I get approximately equal to 49.78. And I don't have any units for that, so that would be it for there. And then we're going to do a similar thing for the next one, except this time we will go 32 divided by the tangent of 40, and we get approximately 38.14. Now let's look at the next one. Assume Eric's eyes are at 5.5 feet. If he measures the angle from the horizontal to the top of the gym to be 52 degrees, and he's 100 feet from the base of the gym, how tall is the gym? Draw a picture. So we're going to have Eric standing here, and he's looking up at the top of the gym, and he measures the angle from the horizontal to be 52 degrees, and he is 5.5 feet, and this distance is 100. So how am I going to go about doing that? I will label this piece H. Now, one thing about this problem is that we have to be careful about is that H is not the height from the ground to the top of the gym. It's only from his eye level. So what trig function is going to deal with 52 degrees, H, and 100? Just like before, on the previous one, we'll have tangent. Tangent of 52 degrees equals H over 100. We can just multiply both sides by 100. And then just type it in on the calculator. Let's see if I can put it in a position we can see. So we have 100, tan 52, enter, and we get 127.99. You can see that there. Now, is that our answer? No, that's just what this H is. But now the height of the gym is going to equal our 127.99 plus Eric's height of 5.5. So to make it easier, we can just say plus 5.5, and we get 133.49. So it's 133.49, and our units are feet. The next problem. I wanted to go over this one because this is a common one that people have trouble with. A lighthouse keeper observes an angle of depression between the horizontal and a line of sight to a ship. If the keeper is 19 meters above the water, how far is the ship from the shore or lighthouse? Well, let's draw a little picture here. We will have the shore, and here will be the shore, and we'll have some water down here, and then we have the lighthouse coming up. And the lighthouse is from the horizontal, spots a ship. And I need to draw my ship. It's a mighty vessel. And that angle is 3 degrees. Now note about this problem, my picture doesn't have to be to scale. I think that's fairly safe to say that's not 3 degrees, but I'm going to use this information. Now, what do I want? I want to say how far is the ship from the shore? So we can do this a couple of ways. We could either A, draw another line across and figure out what this angle is. Well, I have, this is going to be directly across, so it's a horizontal line, and we have another horizontal line. When we have two parallel lines cut by a transversal, a third line, alternate interior angles are congruent, so this is 3 degrees. We're told in the problem that this is 19 meters, so we can set up our problem, or which trig function deals with this angle, 19, and we want to find, we'll call this one x. Yes, it's going to be tangent. So tangent of 3 degrees equals 19 over x. Multiply both sides by x. So we have x tan of 3 equals 19. So x is 19 divided by the tangent of 3 degrees. Let's type that in on our calculator. Let's see if I can tilt it up so you can see that a little bit better. So we have 19 divided by tangent of 3. That gives us 362.54. So x is approximately equal to 362.54, and this would be in meters. Now, 19 most likely is not an exact value. It's probably an approximate, so it'd be okay for a problem like this to say 363 meters. And I'd like to do one more problem. Find the area of an isosceles triangle with sides 8, 8, and 10 centimeters. Well, the first thing we should do, even though it didn't say it in this problem, is draw it. Given that 8 and 8 are the two congruent sides, let's make them these pieces here. So the base side would be 10. Now, how are we going to go about doing this? We want to find the height of this triangle, because I know the base, and all I need to do is find the height. And once I have the height, I'll be able to do it. Oh, there's one other part of this problem that I forgot to write. Find the area, or find the angles and the area. Okay, I want to also find those angles. So what can I do here? This, when I drop the altitude down, remember that this is an altitude, it's a height. Can I prove what happens to this bottom side? Yes, we can. We have this piece 8 and 8 are congruent. H is a part of both triangles, so it's congruent to itself by reflexive. And these are right triangles. So by hypotenuse leg of a right triangle, these two pieces are congruent. If they are congruent, then this is cut in half and both pieces are 5. Now if I want to find this angle theta, then this is also theta because the base angles are congruent in an isosceles triangle. We can say, what trig function deals with theta? 5 and 8. Well, 5 is the adjacent side, so cosine of theta equals 5 over 8. Theta is going to equal the inverse cosine of 5/8, or the arc cosine. And I'll save that and I'll do all the calculations. Oh, I guess I should do that right now. Let's go inverse cosine 5 divided by 8. That gives us 51.317. And we can just say that this is 51.32 degrees. Now if we found this is 51.32, so is this. The last one, and let me call that one alpha. Alpha will equal 180 minus 2 times 51.32. So I'll take out my calculator again, and since I still have that number right there, I can just say 100 minus 2 times answer. And that gives me 77.36 degrees. 77.36. So as far as answering the angles part, we can list them out and say the angles are 51.32 degrees, 51.32 degrees, and 77.36 degrees. Now let's find the area. I need to find that height. How can I go about finding that height? Well, I can say that it is dealing with this angle, the height, and then the hypotenuse there. That would be which trig function? Opposite and hypotenuse? Yes, that would be sine. So the sine of 51.32 degrees equals h over 8. So h equals 8 sine of 51.32 degrees. Now instead of calculating this right away, let me make that a little bit neater. I'm going to leave that. So my area is going to equal 1/2 my base times my height. I know my base is 10, so it's going to be 1/2 of 10 times my height, and I already calculated my height to be 8 times the sine of 51.32 degrees. The purpose of doing this is more for later on, and we will try to see about some patterns for this. But for right now, we can just type that in. One thing I can do is get back the inverse cosine because I'm going to need that angle, inverse cosine of 5/8. Or I could have stored it earlier and then just used the letter. You have a choice. You could type in literally 1/2 times 10 times 8. But when it's these simple numbers, I prefer just to multiply it. So 1/2 of 10 is 5. 5 times 8 is 40. So I'll have 40 times the sine of 51.32, or I use answer. And that gives me 31.22. Now we have to make sure that we remember our units. The units on here were centimeters. And so the units right now will be centimeters squared. And that's all the notes for today.